God I don't have to down a cider on camera. I think it's safe to say for midweek of the championship did not disappoint one bit, and that is why I'm excited to do the next episode of my championship score predictions. If anyone new is unfamiliar with the series, I'll quickly explain it. I go through 12 championship predictions each weekend. I leave all the first fixtures in the description down below so that you can pause the video and leave as many score predictions as you like. I'll go through all 12 games and give you my predictions. If any of you guys comment any correct predictions, your channel will be shouted out in my next championship review video, which comes a few days later after all games have taken place. You'll also be in a place with the Lexus Hall of Fame. So far, James Kelday is the only one in this category. I hope to see more names on that Hall of Fame by the end of next week. Before we move on, unfortunately, no one got a correct prediction for the midweek games, and myself included. I got 0 right, which is not great, but we had some very shocking and unexpected score lines. We've had 3 teams scoring 4 goals. It was absolutely madness, that's for certain. What did you make of your team's performance in midweek? Let me know in the comments down below, by the way. I'll be very interested to hear. As always, if you like the content for what you're seeing and you want to see more of it, please make sure you do give the video a like, and please subscribe to the channel. All of that will be tremendously appreciated for me right now. Also, if you share the video, you can share the joy with others and can grow a fantastic footballing community. But without any further ado, let's hope I match my prediction success from last week, gaining 3 correct predictions, and start predicting the championship match day 19. So we start off at the Liberty Stadium with Swansea going up against Fulham, which should be a very cracking Friday night game. Swansea were held to a draw versus Huddersfield Town. In all honesty, I think they were really relieved to get a point in the game. Freddie Woodman had to make some fantastic saves in that game, and it was Fulton who managed to get Swansea's goal. A very nice finish from him, with his shot managing to hit the roof of the net. They faced a Fulham side who made light work against Derby County. Another player who had a terrific performance was Camara, who provided an assist, and Derby players looked very frightened on how quickly he went forward. Fulham are in a good run of form, winning 3 games in a row under Scott Parker, which has seen them move up to 3rd in the league. Swansea have had a good record against Fulham in recent years, but to only have 1 home win in the last 6 games, it wouldn't be encouraging form for Swansea. Fulham will have a lot of the ball in this game, there's no doubt about that, and Swansea may sit a little bit deep and play on the counter-attack, which has caught Fulham out a few times. In fact, I think back to Nottingham Forest when they played exactly that game plan. But having said that, I think I'm going to predict a 2-1 away victory, but I see a really good battle in this game, so I think Fulham will edge it 2-1. So the early Saturday game sees Charlton play Sheffield Wednesday. Charlton obviously lost against Luton, who are in a torrid run themselves. It started so well, with Lecco doing ever so well to outpace 2 defenders to score, but an Izzy Brown masterclass and Charlton failing to clear the ball had triggered a defeat. Gallagher was unlucky he didn't score. He hit the post from distance. He's such a player to watch him week in and week out. Sheffield Wednesday were held to a draw against Birmingham, which proved to be a very, very tense game. Obviously, it was Gary Monk facing his assistant manager, Pep Clotet, which he did say some very controversial things about him in midweek. Wednesday had many chances to score, including Udabajo hitting the bar, but out of nothing, Wednesday were behind by some poor defending. However, great individual effort from Kadeem Harris managed to save them a point. Even afterwards, Truman made some great saves and the shot was cleared off the line as well. Charlton's poor run of form have seen them slip down to 17th, which just goes to show how open this championship season is. Sheffield Wednesday have not won in 5, and it won't be easy as Charlton have a better record in recent meetings. But keeping in mind that none of these sides have not won for 5 or more games now, I might extend that and go with a 1-1 draw in this game. I can't really tell you who may edge it in this game. What do you think? So the first 3 o'clock game is Derby versus Queen's Park Rangers. Derby were completely outplayed by Fulham and were brought right down to earth after their terrific win versus Preston at Pride Park. I'll be very interested to see how Queen's Park Rangers will respond to their 4-0 thrashing against Nottingham Forest. I can only recall 1 proper chance for Queen's Park Rangers, but it's a priority to try and sort themselves out defensively. Still no clean sheets this season. Their defending for Graben's goal was not great. I know Wallace was sent off by then, but a capitulation never looks good on a team. Their night was summed up by Joe Lumley's howler. To be honest, a very poor game overall, so they'll be desperate to put that behind themselves. However, they have not won in 6 games and have not beaten Derby in their last 6 beatings. It's very hard to predict this game since both teams were not great in midweek. But Derby have won 5 home games in a row, so I think Derby will be victorious, and I'm going with a 2-1 home victory. I've gone with this based on Derby's good home form, but a little bit unsure on this one, let me know. And now to see two teams at the polar end of the table battling it out, with Leeds playing against Middlesbrough. Leeds had squeezed a win against Reading with Jack Harrison getting the only goal, and again, Leeds were left off the hook a couple of times though. On a good day, Reading could have scored 2 or 3 goals. With Middlesbrough, they had a terrific game in midweek, beating their relegation rivals Barnsley by 1-0. It ends their 10-game winless run, and on the balance of play, I think they did deserve it. The Summerlongers should have scored the goal of midweek, but Ben Williams had to ruin it with a spectacular David Luiz-esque clearance. It was absolutely terrific. Fletcher eventually scored, massively helped by the terrible conditions on the pitch and Radinger slipping over. But Leeds have won 4 home games in a row, which is why they kept the pace of promotion. And we know what Leeds would do. It's whether that they can get past Middlesbrough, who will be very hard to break down, and I thought they were really hard to break down against Barnsley. I'm going to predict a 2-0 home victory for Leeds, but Middlesbrough are full of surprises, but I've gone with the safer option. Next up is Nottingham Forest versus Cardiff. Forest are showing some tremendous promise managing to dispatch Queen's Park Rangers. João Carvalho's goal for 3-0 was absolutely splendid. The dirt to do the nutmeg from the defender and the finish, sublime, honestly. Everything about Forest was so fun to watch, and defensively, they do not look troubled against a Queen's Park Rangers attack, who've looked good so far this season. With Cardiff, Neil Harris got his first win in charge as manager, beating Stoke City by 1-0. They got their goal early on with Medine doing a beautiful back heel pass to Bakuna, who hit the ball in the roof of the net, a little bit similar to Fulton's goal actually. Overall, it was a positive performance by both sides, with Forest winning 4 of their last 6 home games and Cardiff not winning a game so far away from home. I can only predict a 2-1 home victory for Nottingham Forest. Cardiff will be very, very tough to beat though, because I have seen an improvement under Harris, but the fact they still not won away from home, I'm going to edge Nottingham Forest, and mind you, they do have a strong home record as well, so I'll go with a Forest win, but who knows, we don't know what can happen. This is the Championship after all. Next up is Stoke versus Blackburn. I think Stoke will be disappointed with their performance against Cardiff and didn't have the same bounce as they did against Wigan. With Blackburn, they got their 2nd win in a row, beating in-form Brentford, courtesy of a Bradley Dack goal. A brilliant play for Stuart Downing actually on the left. Michael O'Neill did win his first home game as Stoke manager though, so he could make something work against Blackburn. However, I do see this game ending as a 0-0 draw. I think in terms of the attack, Stoke can be a bit inconsistent. It really depends on how good Tom Ince is having and other players like Sam Klukas are. And with Blackburn as well, I'm not sure how well they're going to score away from home. So I see this game as a 0-0 draw. I don't see either team scoring. And Blackburn away have not been great. So unfortunately, I think this will be a stalemate. I hope not though. Next up is Wigan versus Reading. It's going to be a tough test for both sides, I think. Wigan had a hard-fought draw against Millwall. However, they took the lead twice and they'll be so disappointed that they didn't hold on. Reading lost versus Leeds, but did have chances to make a statement in the game. But their lack of clinical edge cost them in the end. Wigan at times played really well against Millwall. Pilkington scored a half volley and gone with a very classy assist, getting Robinson's first goal for Wigan. This could be another stalemate, but I refuse for there to be 2 stalemates in 1 week. I'm going to instead predict a 2-0 away victory for Reading, since Wigan's defence is not going to be as strong as Leeds. I think, as away from home as well, I think Reading will be okay against Wigan. So I'll go with a 2-0 away victory for Reading. Next to play is Barnsley versus Hull. Now, I can't decide whether it's the right time for Barnsley to play Hull or not. Barnsley are still winless since the opening day of the season, which is 17 matches ago, which is absolutely shocking. Hull, on the other hand, have gone to struggling against relegating Middlesbrough to thrashing promotion envy Preston North End by 4-0. That was my pick for the result of midweek. Hull's 3rd goal was top quality. At this point, I felt bad for my mate Ben HD, but I stood up and applauded that 3rd goal because that was absolutely terrific. Bowen having an absolute masterclass. He is on track to be the November Player of the Month. As with Barnsley, they were quite quiet against Middlesbrough, Although Brown did hit the bar in the game, I think I'm going to predict a 1-1 draw though. I don't see Hull being a very consistent side. So I think they will drop points against Barnsley. And I think Barnsley at home have looked good at times. And I think if they do score first, I think Barnsley will be alright. It's just whether they'll be defensively disciplined enough to keep a clean sheet, which they haven't managed to do since their opening win of the season. So I'm going to predict 1-1. Next game is Birmingham versus Millwall. Birmingham were not great versus Sheffield Wednesday. However, they do tend to find a way to be in the game. And they did that through Jimenez being for right side of the defender, shrugging him off and tapping in an easy goal past Dawson. They will be disappointed how they conceded and how much space Harris had, but it was a brave performance by Birmingham actually. Millwall were not at their best either against Wigan, but they had a strong mentality and they got back into the game, which are really good signs for Millwall in my opinion. Birmingham have failed to win in the last 4 games now, and Millwall are undefeated in 3. Having said that, I think Birmingham will get a surprise 2-1 home victory against Millwall, since I don't think Rowett has quite cracked it away from home so far for Millwall. It's really rare for Millwall to win away from home. I know they did beat Swansea away from home, but it was by the odd goal, and I think they were quite lucky how they didn't concede. I think Birmingham will offer a lot of intensity, which is why I think they'll get a 2-1 home victory. But I think this will be a very close game, definitely. Now we move on to Brentford versus Luton. Both sides with contrasting results in midweek. Brentford are slowly losing their great momentum, losing to Huddersfield, then 3 games later, losing to Blackburn. Luton, they ended their 5 consecutive defeats by beating Charlton 2-1, for which was a star quality performance from Izzy Brown, especially when he scored the second. He's an absolute handful for defenders, and him being from Chelsea, I love the guy, really. Brentford have only won 3 times at home this season. Having said that, I think there will be a response from Brentford, since I think Luton are quite spineless away from home at the moment. It's really rare for Luton to get something away from home in my opinion. So I'm going to say a 3-0 home victory for Brentford. Whether Luton will be in the game is uncertain, but that's my view. Now the last 3 o'clock game is Bristol City versus Huddersfield. Bristol City got absolutely dispatched by West Brom. It is a bit harsh for me to say. I will say in the second half, Bristol City was so much more improved and actually competed with West Brom in the midfield. They were being a lot more brave. They were moving the ball quicker. Jeju eventually got rewarded, narrowing the deficit by 2-1. However, West Brom just showed why they're leaders, and they completely made the game comfortable in the end, winning by 4-1. Then they play a Huddersfield side who managed to get a really good point against Swansea. However, you would struggle with the amount of chances they did have. They should have won the game. Alex Pritchard had his best performance for Huddersfield Town so far. He was an absolute nightmare for Swansea. He kept testing Woodman in goal. His shooting looked really, really good and crisp. And I think he's gained a lot of joy under playing under the Cowley brothers so far. I'm really happy that Pritchard may be slowly starting to find his form again. Bristol City are quite a strong side, and at home they've been okay at times, although they've not blown teams away at home so far this season. Huddersfield have found new form, but they are proving to be a little bit inconsistent. In terms of predicting what score I would give this game, I'm probably going to give this game a 2-1 home victory to Bristol City. I think they just about have enough quality for Huddersfield, but Huddersfield will definitely be in the game. In fact, I may put a prediction out there. I think Huddersfield will be 1-0 up in this game, and I think Bristol City will have to go all guns blazing and throw the kitchen sink at Huddersfield and get a 2-1 home victory. That's my opinion. And the last game is Monday night's game, Preston versus West Brom. I am so looking forward to this game because Preston, don't know what's gone on with Preston. I can only sympathise with their fans. They had such a good start to the season, but they've lost 2 games in a row, 2 away games in a row. But this is their chance to rectify themselves and to show that they are trying to go for promotion. For me, this is a must-win game for Preston. If they lose this game, they'll have to start looking behind them and try and get into the playoffs, because they're already 6 points behind second place Leeds, so they cannot afford to lose ground on them. With West Brom, no, they had a terrific performance. I mean, the quality they have is ridiculous. Dean Garner's assist for Kieran Gibbs' goal, wow. The quality he had, he could have taken it on himself. The back heel to Gibbs, it was brilliant. Pereira's been great as well. The whole team looks so well organised, it looks so complete, and that has to take credit on the manager. I think Slaven Bilic has been absolutely terrific so far. With Preston, they've got the best home record in the whole league though, so West Brom do have a very tough test, and obviously they have lost one game so far this season, which was an away game against Leeds United. I could see this game going at a similar pattern, however, Preston did play a home game against Leeds United and they drew 1-1, and I think West Brom are really similar calibre to Leeds. I think this game will be a 1-1 draw. I don't see either team managing to win this game. I think Preston do have the quality to get something, but I don't think enough quality to get a win, because I think West Brom are just a real good kettle of fish. They really are just an incredible team in my opinion. So I think they'll get a 1-1 draw. But what do you think, guys? So once again, all of this weekend's games will be in the description down below, so that you can leave your predictions in the comments down below, and any correct predictions, your channel will get a shout out and you'll join James Kelday in the Lexus Hall of Fame. As always, if you liked what you see, please make sure you do give a video a like and a share. All of that will be terrifically appreciated, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of my content. But apart from that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited for this weekend's Championship football. If it's going to be anything like midweek, we are going to be in for a treat, let me tell you. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care.